Hello, everybody, and welcome to the That's Hot podcast. I'm your host, Christian, and here with the fantastic Tambaurlon.
Yay! We decided we were not going to do full names anymore because what's going on, you know?
Yeah, they don't need to know. Don't stalk us.
Yeah, it's odd. But today we're here to discuss a topic, a kind of salacious topic. But at this point, I feel like everybody that cares about fashion already knows about it. So it's nothing like we're not uncovering anything. We're just discussing it. And that is Rhuigi, the founder of Rhude, Rhuigi Villaseñor, I believe is how you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about him being let go from Bally after one season. And at the time, we did not know. I was kind of critical about it. Like, dang, I didn't even really give him a chance. But right after that, we found out it may have been because they found out some information about him. Allegedly, he was scamming money from his brand.
You're right. So, maybe somebody in Bally, because they have to be keeping tabs on their designers and everybody, just they're not associated with scandals.
Yeah, there's already too much at risk with that. Like with the other houses, the Balenciaga scandal, this, that. They don't want to be a part of it.
And he was part of Bally, which is a 120-year-old fashion house, so it's heritage. And they're known for being, super buttoned up. Well, I guess the reason that they brought him in is so he could give a fresh perspective and kind of bring in younger buyers. And allegedly, that's what they did. They don't report their numbers, but I saw a figure that allegedly he helped it rise by 20%, their profits.
Oh,
just
okay.
For that one, really one. Did he do two? No, one collection.
That makes sense though, because a lot of people. First, it was the perfect fit because Rhuigi, after starting his brand and kind of gaining traction, and we could talk about how, he did focus on the more expensive leather stuff being for his higher end client, if you will. So of course I have t-shirts and stuff, still expensive, but for people that really want to spend money with me, I might have $1,000, $700 leather jacket or something. So it was the perfect transition for him to go and breathe some of that cool streetwear life into Bally without being that far off from what they do, the DNA of the brand.
Right. And it was great because he also had, his cult following from Rhude, but also he has this whole insiders, the cool kids of music, sports, fashion.
Yes, all the rich men of kind of across ages, from Jay-Z, who is a senior citizen at this point, to the youngest basketball player is wearing Rhude.
Oh, so true. I don't know why I think of Jay-Z as I don't know, contemporary, but really he is our senior. We should be respecting him.
We should be respecting.
Okay, if I ever see him and he needs help getting across the street, I will help him.
If he needs a parking spot, I will. Hilarious.
So all of this was a perfect storm. So he is from Manila originally, but he was raised, I think, in Los Angeles specifically, but in general, California. And a lot of what PR around him is stating that, he went to high school, and right out of high school, he had an internship. And other than that, he really doesn't have any training in fashion other than that internship. And shortly then after, he started Rhude. Well, I think he started something else first, and then he named it Rhude.
Yes.
And then he talked about early on, not being profitable and just making mistakes, just thinking about making whole collections, but not thinking about the logistics behind it and really setting up a business. Well, actually, so they just became profitable. I think it read 2018 was the year they were first profitable, which is not bad. Oh yeah, so it was 2016. So back in 2016, George Robertson, who is a 20% stakeholder in Rhude, he gave him $50,000. And then, for that, he became the 20% stakeholder in the company. The other 80% is owned by Rhuigi. Now that they're profitable, they're making substantially more money. He is alleging that Villaseñor is pilfering the Rhude company's coffers, in quotation, to front his expensive bills, including private jets, Italian vacations, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and a collection of $100,000 watches. So I guess if you really want to live the life, gotta
scam a little bit
on the low.
So it's he was stealing his own merchandise and selling it on the black market,
which is crazy.
I guess so. The whole thing to me, first, there's a bunch of reasons why this is interesting, but I'm going to go with what I feel is the most obvious, being a person that, knows a little bit about fashion and cares about, I don't know, the ins and outs of some designers' lives.
Mhm.
Most of the time, fashion designers are not rich. And when they are, it's either because of like who they married, or it comes way later in their career off of some type of endorsement, or them somehow doing a partnership becoming mainstream, something like that.
Right.
Most of the time these people are not living, and so I'm not saying that they're living in the poorhouse. I'm just saying they're not yacht Lamborghini
Right.
rich. So for him to be so young and his brand basically like not even 10 years old and he's living like this, it just, for me, it just cements my thoughts and what I always have to say about social media and how much it has corrupted our society and what people believe even that they deserve and how they should be living for what they do. Like, and I'm not hating at all. Everybody wants to live that rap, lifestyle, that Jay-Z lifestyle.
Right. Oh, it's so weird that, like, why would he think that was okay? And that, like, I'm just going to steal this stuff and sell it on, separately.
Why would he think that, and maybe this is my too much growing up around criminal people,
Mhm.
why would you think doing this type of stuff and living this ostentatious, like this is conspicuous consumption at its height, would not raise any red flags with anybody?
Right.
Sure, to the common eye on Instagram, it's like, oh, look at this rich guy. He's just living cool. Oh, he's a designer. Okay, yeah. But the people you do business with, you don't think that they can see you as well?
Yeah, that's why this George Robertson wants his money.
I see you drinking that expensive champagne that you posted. Where is my money, Rhuigi? So Rhuigi, this is not surprising to me, and why I wanted to talk about this with Christian is because I don't want to say that he's been scamming the whole time, but he's kind of been scamming the whole time. So Rhuigi got his start in the fashion business basically because he wanted to be fly. Like many of us kids that grew up in a low socioeconomic situation at home, but you live in Los Angeles, it is the sickest dichotomy. It should be illegal. You seeing all these rich people and how they're living. Hollywood is literally arm's distance. You've probably taken the bus passing it to and from. So you know what the rich are living like. You know the things that you want. Like everything that's advertised in the world is right at your fingertips. And you could just, if you just had the money, you could get it. So Rhuigi starts scamming young. He's on eBay, he's selling things. And then he finds out that people will pay a premium for something that has a designer logo on it or brand, even if they do not even know enough about that logo or brand to determine whether or not it is authentic. They will still pay because it's about the idea. So Rhuigi was buying, he said his first solid flip was like he bought some type of jacket, like a bomber jacket, and he sewed a YSL logo in it. He sold it. He made a huge profit. He was addicted. Like a drug kingpin, he had to re-up and do it again. Then he starts selling random things, American Apparel things, sewing designer labels in it, anything. He gets greedy. He gets crazy to the point where he is kicked off the platform, allegedly.
See, I'm sure the PR company did a good job of like scrubbing this from the internet, or maybe I just didn't look hard enough, but I couldn't find anything associated with him and eBay and like this scandal.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure
I heard
it
this
exists.
in an interview. I heard this in an interview,
What?
and then I also saw some tweets to back it up. But he told the story himself, so he was proud of it. He was not even ashamed of his scammer beginnings. And that's how you know a person that will scam in the light will scam even harder in the dark.
Oh, yeah. Because he hadn't suffered any consequences thus far.
Suffered no consequences. They kicked him off eBay. He probably went right over to Poshmark and kept it going.
Right.
So he gets his big break with his brand. After that, it gives him an epiphany when he's selling online, like, oh God, instead of just ripping off these people's brands, I need to start a brand and be ripping these people off myself, one to one, and they can't kick, then there's really no consequences. So boom, he starts Rhude. His name is Rhuigi Rhude. In 2012, he creates this bandana print t-shirt. Now, not to be shady, I'm no Trump supporter, but we got the facts are the facts. I feel like most immigrant people, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, when they come to America, they get very radicalized with American culture and they become patriots. They become obsessed. They want to have American flags. They want to celebrate 4th of July. They want to go all out. They want to be American. They want to prove to the rest of us that was already here, I assume, how American they are. So Rhuigi, no stranger to that, he becomes Super American Americana. He wants all the things that represent America. And that's what his brand is about. Marlboro cigarettes, bandanas, Levi's, leather jackets, Americana.
Mm.
He creates this bandana print t-shirt, black and white originally. And however, some people say he's a social climber, he's a groupie. These are the tweets I'm saying, these are not my words. But he got into the right circles. In LA, it's not that hard. You just got to be outside, be friendly, be cool, be dressed cool. Rich people will accept you. They'll think you're one of them until it's time to pay the check. So Rhuigi is moving around, shaking around. He ends up getting in contact with Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar. Snoop Dogg, very easy person to get in contact with if you know the right people in LA. Ask the girls at BeautyCon. You know?
I also have his number. Yeah, I talked to him earlier. I asked him about my cat's food.
Uncle Snoop. And then Kendrick Lamar was up and coming at the time, TDE, and they had a very strict brand identity, TDE, Top Dog Entertainment. They were only wearing the brand's clothes, like a Death Row t-shirt. They were only wearing TDE stuff. But he was going to perform at the BET Awards. It was a big deal. This might have been his first performance on TV. He finds out about this Rhude shirt. He's like, you got to wear it. Rhuigi gives it to him. And boom, changes his life overnight. The t-shirt goes up. He's selling more than he can even keep up with. He has to rob Peter to pay Paul to get these orders out. He starts offering in the red as well. Kendrick wears that one. Snoop Dogg gets 100 of them. And it's all history from there. But at the time, still, Rhuigi, and he told this himself, so this is not gossip. He said he even then used the profits to go buy some shit for himself. He bought some designer, and I think he said he bought a car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this whole time, this has been his practice, is when his brand is doing good, he's doing good. He's outside. He's balling, bottles in the club. But maybe with partners, it's not that easy to do. And he was owning 80% of the company. So maybe there was a lot of things he was able to hide and lie about on paper, allegedly. Because this other man just gave him 20%, probably to help with inventory, because that's what he was talking about he was having a hard time keeping up with.
Right.
And lead times in China and this, that. But you're spending the money also because you feel like you deserve, you want to live that lifestyle. And now you're hanging out with these people like they're your friends and you want to keep up. I assume that's what's going on.
Well, it's crazy that like his stuff is pretty expensive for like what it is.
Very expensive.
In a recent interview, so like he was doing like PR or behind like the runway. He recently showed in Paris, and this is after the whole like scandal and the news of the lawsuit dropped. And in the Vogue interview, you know, they kind of like not dismissed, like downplayed it. And they said, you know, the lawsuit is a thing. He's not really acknowledging it. But, you know, he was PR trained to like, don't talk about that. And he was just instead focusing that what he wants to do is become an inspiration. And he kept referencing to the children to give them something to look to. Like, you know, you cannot have a formal training or you might not have the connections, but you too can be in this position where you can, you know, your dreams can come true, which is all nice if you don't take in, you know,
the scam part,
everything else that's pending in his life.
That makes me, I'm a person that always has a song in my heart. You know, I have a song for every situation. And that immediately made me think of the Dream Girls. You can make your way to the top round after round, but like you can scam your way to the top.
That's so true. And then really, so like what he wants to do is be like...
He wants to be a legend. He's trying to make himself into this legendary Robin Hood type character.
True. Well, and then another part was just saying that like, whereas like a Bally or Bally, you know, Chanel, all the things, they have heritage. And he was saying, you know, like he named it Rhude because Rhuigi and everybody, a lot of people in his family have names that start with RH. Mm-hmm. And so instead, his heritage is his family. So, you know, he does kind of want to have a legacy that he like leaves his mark. I feel like it's marred in like this controversy.
Definitely. And I feel like if you were at all genuine with this whole I'm cleaning up or, you know, this is not really me or it was a mistake or whatever, because none of it is clear at this point. Like you're not copping to it, but you're not, you know, you're kind of just trying to PR Olivia Pope yourself out of the situation, out of people talking about it. But then, and this is where I feel like your friends trying to be too cool, you know, as my grandma would say, trying to be hip hop. You blow up your own spot and you fuck it up. You come out to your show at Rhude because you still did own your own brand. So Bally kicked you to the curb. Okay, I'm going back home. I'm going to Rhude. At your fashion show, you come out to All Eyes on Me by Tupac. You have got to be kidding me. First of all, you ain't no thug. You design clothes. What are you talking about? All Eyes on Me. Please. As a person who like champions people of color, black people specifically in these spaces, fashion and all that, because we don't get a lot of opportunity, for you to come and stereotype it up like this and be a fake thug and just lean into every stereotype they already have about us and people like us, I wish I could personally kick you in the shin.
Whenever we were looking at like his collection for Bally, I think that's something we thought of. It's just like the early 2000s, like hip hop aesthetic, but it was like sanitized enough so that like, to bring in the clientele, but it was sanitized enough for like the white clientele that still were like ballet shoppers.
Yeah. And it's like, you have to know who your audience is. And this is why I don't like people. I was just watching something today that said you cannot have like black culture and not have black people and separate the two and like be a spectator and not want to have them involved. Rhuigi, you lean so heavy on hip hop and all of these things. But though 99% of the people cannot afford your clothes are for white people, for rich people, What I see out wearing your clothes in my neighborhood, because I live close to a college, is a bunch of rich Asian kids and rich white kids between the ages of, I'd say, 16 and 25. So this whole fake gangster aesthetic is unnecessary. It really is. Just be a hype beast. Just be like Lorenzo from Fear of God. Just be like that. Why do you have to be a fake thug?
What's funny is that whenever you said something, I forgot, it made me think of, like, you were the one to tell me, I think, that, was it Kendrick Lamar makes rap music for white people?
Definitely.
Did you tell me that?
He definitely does. If I didn't tell you that, I agree with it.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was somebody else. But I feel like that's what he does. He has this whole, like, hip-hop, like, rap, like, persona, aesthetic. Mm-hmm. But that's not who he's selling to.
It's not. And you're like, you come from a Filipino family, mom and dad. I know that they don't condone this activity that you're doing. Because really all you're doing with the stolen money, and it's allegedly stolen money, is flexing. It's not like you're doing anything of substance with it. It's not like you took the money and invested in this legacy that you're trying to build and made some type of fashion program for the youth or something, or an internship so they can come work for you and learn. You're on the internet popping bottles, wearing sick watches.
It's for Instagram. It's for other people.
It's for other people. And I'm not even going to fully say it's for other people because, you and I like fashion. And we might fill our houses up, fill our apartments up with all the couture and all the nice clothes. And we want to wear them outside because we appreciate it. He may be one of those people too. But you being ostentatious about it and what got you caught up is the flexing. If you were just wearing the watches in private, nobody would know. They wouldn't be able to clock you and tell how much you're spending on them, where you got them and what time and all this. My God. What is the point? And then I can understand, okay, you promoting this lifestyle, you could say it's part of you promoting your brand, you being cool and all of this. But at some point, like, you're not going to live forever. Is your brand going to die when you die? Or are you really trying to build a legacy that you're talking about in these other forms? Like,
right. And somebody he like alluded to as being like a big inspiration to him. And he even said that was like a friend to him was Virgil. And he liked how he just kind of like melded everything. So what, Rhuigi is trying to do is trying to make like streetwear elevated. And he said that, Virgil did a perfect job of like synthesizing the two. And so like he's kind of saying like he's running that, he's following that same path.
I could agree with that. He definitely is. And I would even say, street style wise, like out in the real world, it's the same customer. That's what I mean by it's not at all. Like, you don't have to make it this whole hip hop thing because it's not that. The customer is that same Louis Vuitton customer. It's a hype beast. It's a kid. And I don't know how, like, an appropriate way to detail what a hype beast is. Maybe we can both give our, explanation. But for me, a hype beast is a person. Really, it could be all ages in California. I know other places it might be different, but we have old men hype beasts out here. And it's just a person that anything new, fresh, cool, they want to wear it. They want to go. They want to be associated with it. It's the 40-year-old that is at Rolling Loud. It is the soccer mom that is at the airport, LAX, wearing the brand new Virgil Louis Vuitton collection denim jacket, the Supreme. It's those people that they want everything new, fresh, and they just so happen to maybe like streetwear. Maybe they listened to rap when they were young, when they were in college, so they still kind of like it. But everything else about their life is the opposite of that. They just present this way, in their free time. And it's just a look for them, like almost like a costume.
I think your definition is way nicer to hypebeast than mine.
What is
Mine,
yours?
I feel like it's like our age, millennial and younger, and I guess you could have some outliers who are like older, but they are, in quotation marks, individuals who are all sheep. They look to rap music. And okay, so like they also look to Black artists, musicians for what is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is when, like you said earlier, like excluding Black people. So like they'll look to like Black culture, but then not really include the Black people. I don't know.
Yeah. But no. I know what you're saying. Like I go to a lot of events, hip hop events, concerts, whatever, and there will be, let's say it's a group of 5. It's 4 white boys and an Asian boy. That's their group. They maybe got one Black boy that they talk to sometimes at school, but all the music they listen to is rap. They probably say the N-word when they're together in close quarters.
Oh,
they're wearing like the Travis Scott J's, and they're wearing a Rhude t-shirt.
Exactly. That's totally. And then I don't know why I feel like, what was that one term? Like the chronically online.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of the hype beasts, of course, a lot of them I associate, like you did say, like you included females in your definition, but I don't know why I always just associate it with men or young men. And they're probably misogynists. And I feel like they're more willing to forgive crazy behavior. And I feel like a lot of them really look to like Kanye West and like a Drake for
Kid Cudi.
What's hot.
Yeah, those are their leaders. And then if you want to go a little younger, we got the Playboy Cardi and Lil Yachty's. And, NBA Youngboy does not dress that nice. But people like that, Kodak Black, they look to these people to know, like Christian said, what is cool. And they kind of just follow along. So they were online, honestly, making jokes about the whole Rhuigi being a scammer thing. Like, yeah, go ahead, bro. Like, flex on them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're hating. They weren't taking it serious from a business standpoint at all. They didn't care. So it's not like he's losing any customers or clout. And maybe that's why he felt comfortable enough to come out to All Eyes on Me.
That's really like wanting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Or poking the bear. Because I bet you in court, you were going to act, totally different. You're going to act very submissive about the whole thing.
Right. And so like the Vogue article or the interview, he did seem, it was for the kids and it was for heritage and family. It did seem like he was coming at it from like a humble like stature, which is totally different from like what you associate with his image. Because right now I'm just looking at this image of him. He's trying to light this cigar in his like whole suit sitting next to a fur. And by the way, like he's wearing these heels, which I already can tell like he's probably really short.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing is interesting. And then in preparing for this episode and just trying to cross-check facts and things that I've heard Rhuigi say himself rewatch interview, there were claims about him being a scammer from as early as 2015 when his brand first started. And this is outside of the eBay stuff. This was about like him having bad business relationships with people. So my man, he has never really been above board, I guess, when it comes to these things. And not very apologetic about it either. Because in his tweet, when somebody was saying, okay, I'm going to read his tweet first. He said, love to anyone that can maintain a relationship and a business. Someday I'll figure out the puzzle. And this was in July of 2015.
I guess he still hasn't figured it out. Okay, well, let's try.
Siri, play More Money, More Problems. That is so sad.
Well, now he probably just doesn't have a lot of time because he's running as a Depop and Poshmark.
What do you think it is that drives a person to kind of risk it all in this way and in the public eye? Because my biggest fear is probably public embarrassment, especially on a grand scale. So what do you think is like the modus operandi of a person like that just doesn't care? I
think it's delusion, just because like he came at it, I feel like probably loved, shirts, and he loves streetwear, but he's not like an actual like designer. Maybe his like intentions are, I want to sell things because it's like, it's a stature thing. So like, I want to be a designer because designers are really cool. And if he said that like Virgil's like his inspiration, of course, he had that cool factor. And then he was able to also design. So it's like maybe like false motives. It's like, I want a lot of money, really. So let me design anything.
And the notoriety, I guess we have to blame or attribute, not blame, this to like the rock star designers like a John Galliano and the Tom Ford. They kind of made it cool in our modern time to be a designer. I don't know if you can think of anyone else that kind of made a huge splash like that.
I don't know. Like all the ones, Galliano, McQueen.
Okay, yeah, McQueen.
Yeah, you can think about that. But like they became famous, but they were at their core, they were designers, you know?
Yeah, he's kind of making stuff, as you said, just to sell it, to have the money, to live the lifestyle he wants.
Right. Like he's like this imaginary rock star making merch.
Yeah, he's a rapper without having any songs out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess if you gotta hustle, that's a solid hustle, especially in these social media times. Like, I can just be a cool person. Because honestly, I feel like so many girls do that. And of course, it's not on the same scale, so it's not looked at that way. But some kind of are on that scale, and they end up having to close down their brands. So yeah, there are a lot of women like that are just like married to a rich guy, or maybe their parents have money and they put out a line because they want to be known as a designer. They don't just want to be, so-and-so's wife or daughter. And then they put out these, I don't know, bodies of work. Either it goes good or it doesn't, but they still wanted the association with that they are in fashion. It's kind of the easiest career you can like pay your way in. You can't just show up and be a doctor,
Right. And, it has that whole like glam factor. Although a lot of designers will tell you just like it's not very glamorous because like if you're actually designing, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, the work part is not glamorous. It's like they're living in the permanent fashion week part.
Right. It's like the whole marketing, fashion week. That's the glamour.
Yeah, like the parties and the going out and the being associated with famous people and getting into nice parties and events and things like that. And showing up to work whenever and going over reviewing what the team has for you, the tech packs.
I feel like that's a good segue to talk about like what going forward. We're going to kind of like include new topics on like fashion and like wellness.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely subscribe because our next episode is going to be on fashion and its influence on body dysmorphia. Well, I guess body dysmorphia, but also just any eating and image disorder.
Yes, because they abound.
Right.
All right, everyone. Let us know what you think about Rhuigi's alleged scamming in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts about it. Again, we have to say alleged because none of this has been proven. I don't think anybody's been to court. But from the court of the internet is pretty much, and his own mouth, his own testimony about his actions, is pretty much that he's scammed.
Right.
So I don't even really know if there's more that can be done to save the reputation. Maybe just more positive PR, going out, feeding the homeless, teaching a class at your local public school. Because, he's all about the children, all about the youth, Whitney Houston.
Allegedly, Whitney Houston. Oh my God.
He believes that the children are the future, as long as he doesn't steal it from them.
He doesn't really care about the future. As long as he's making the money, he cares.
As long
it just
as he's
sounds
on that
good.
yacht this summer.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about here in the comments. Give us some future episode ideas, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening and watching if you're watching on YouTube.
Bye.
Bye.